Hey, it's Empire, Geobox Empire, Boxing. Now, man, after undisputed 140 champion Terance Crawford moves up to 147, defends his WBO title all by knockout. The fight with him versus Sean Porter yesterday was the biggest fight of his career. Sean Porter's fought in the who's who in the welterweight division. He fought the Keith one-time Thurmans, the Carol Brooks, Danny Garcias, basically everyone, right? And he's never been stopped. This was Terance Crawford's moment to shine, to prove himself that did he really have this high knockout power, and could he really handle a pressure from a full-fledged welterweight, man? Not only did he beat Sean Porter, but he did it with flying colors by knockout in the 10th round. And man, it was shocking, man. Terance Crawford turned it up later in the fight after round 6 and start landing more frequently on Sean Porter. And when those body shots were wicked body shots, that basically slowed down Sean Porter, man. But after the knockout of Showtime Sean Porter, the TKO, Terance Crawford was in the audience, man. And ERROL Spence was in the crowd. And he's seen the fight. He was there live. I thought he was going to hop in the ring, but instead, ERROL Spence walks away, man. He walks away, which was really shocking. I'm surprised he went all the way to the fight just to look at the fight and just not say anything and not hop in the ring and challenge the guy. This would have been a perfect time, but he didn't. So, that being said, there's doubts and reasons why Errol the Truth Spence did not hop in the ring with Terance Crawford. One is he fought the same guy that he fought, but he did it in a better fashion. He knocked the guy out, something that Errol Spence Jr. couldn't do. So that was a really big deal. Some people say that the fight was stopped too early because of his father, and then that, Sean Porter could have went in survivor mode. Man, we'll never know. All I know was Sean Porter was dropped 2 times in 1 round, and they don't have three knockdown rule, but some refs that they see you drop him 3 times in 1 round and you're not really putting much of a fight back, they'll just call a fight altogether. So did Kenny call a fight too early, or did he just see the beginning of the end? I'm leaning more toward the beginning of the end. I like Sean Porter. I picked him to beat Terance Crawford. Actually, I thought he was too aggressive, too active for him. And when he was really aggressive, really active, that was the kind of fight, that I thought he'd win. Sean Porter fights with me. Sean Porter fight without headbutts. There's headbutts that left them both cut in the eyes. And this fight happened exactly like I thought it would happen. Problem is, Terance Crawford invested into the body really early, and he was throwing softball power body shots to stop Sean Porter from being so aggressive, right? This is reminiscent of Terance Crawford doing the same thing to Amir King Khan when he knocked him out with it was a little low, but it was a body shot nevertheless. Same thing he did to Julius Ndongo, knocked the guy with a body shot. Sean Porter is a tough guy. He was taking those body shots the whole fight. So that's really what got Sean Porter out of there. I think it was more of Terance Crawford's body work along with his punch placement that really got him out of there. But we all want to see Errol the Truth Spence versus Terance Crawford, man. Terance Crawford did leave Bob Arum. I gotta make a whole nother video about that. And it's likely he's gonna go to PBC, man. There's still a lot of fights that Terance Crawford can be made over there in the PBC outside of ERROL Spence Jr. It could be always a Keith one-time Thurman, a Danny Garcia. Every fight isn't a big fight, but those are solid fights to stay busy. Those are stay busy fights for Terance Crawford at this point of his career. Maybe the Keith Thurman fight is more competitive, but the Danny Garcia fight, he hasn't fought in since Errol Truth Spence. So people talk about Keith Thurman not fighting a lot, but Danny Garcia hasn't fought even more. So that being said, man, we're gonna see what Terance Crawford does from here. He even talked about post-fight going to the 154 division, maybe taking on Errol Spence's big bro, Jermell Charlo. That guy is extremely close to being undisputed, and he called him out. I mean, it's insane the fight stacking he made, not just for the sport of boxing, but these are historic fights. Understand that Terance Crawford Jermell Charlo is 1 belt away from being undisputed. So if he were to go 154, he's only going to fight champions. And if he does that, if he can beat Jermell Charlo, I think he can walk through Castano, because I don't see anything Castano could do that Sean Porter couldn't do. I think that Jamel Charlo just doesn't know how to fight pressure fighters. So that being said, man, Terance Crawford, man, it's looking like the sky's the limit. But I really want him to take care of business at 147 before he goes up to 154. But this is just wild stuff, man. Terance Crawford, man, wow. It's wild. He fights southpaw so much you think he's southpaw, but he's actually an orthodox fighter. But now that I'm on BoxRec, it says his stance is southpaw. It's wild stuff, man. It's just that, when you're southpaw, you have more angles and you have more room to work. So you can hit a guy more in a southpaw stance than an orthodox stance because you're closer to the guy. When you're both orthodox, you're closer to the guy. It's good to be in the opposite stance of your fighter, so you can use it's a thinking man's game, right? Because the guy has to come forward more recklessly. People aren't used to the distance between a southpaw and an orthodox fighter. So Terance Crawford, he can go southpaw and orthodox, and he can switch it up on you. And he did in his fight. He started off early in the fight orthodox, and then he switched it over southpaw later. But at the end of the day, man, Terance Crawford and ERROL Spence is a good fight. But with the eye surgery of ERROL the True Spence and him fighting Manny Pacquiao, was supposed to fight him, he's probably going to need a couple tune-ups, man. ERROL Spence, we're going to see how good his eye is, and we're going to see how that goes before his next move is made. Maybe that's why he didn't hop in the ring. But I think this performance of Terance Bud Crawford is one of the reasons why he didn't hop in the ring. So anyway, man, this is a great performance from Crawford, career-defining by none. I think this is his most competitive fight in his whole career. This is his most competitive fight in his whole career. A lot of people get blinded by all the accolades of all these other fighters, but sometimes you got that one tough dog who don't just lay down, and Sean Porter didn't get stopped. His father came in and hopped in. This is the kind of guy who has no stop in him, who's never been stopped before. So this is why Terance Crawford is the #1 pound-for-pound fighter, man. This is why he's that guy. Anyway, man, I thought I'd talk about my boy ERROL the True Spence not hopping in the ring. Real bizarre stuff, man. Let me know how you guys feel about them. Like, comment, subscribe. This is the Empire. Jubas Empire. Jubas.